Good afternoon, folks, and we are going to get started with how to improve your cloud security using Gen AI. I'm Shashank, and along with me, I have Ravindra Ved here. Over to you, sir.
Yep, thank you, and we'll promise you to keep you more active after a heavy lunch. I want to keep it more interactive. It's not that big room. I know it's a bigger room, but not as big. So we'll try to keep it more interactive. I'm sure Shashank has lot of interesting things that we want to cover, but also hear back from you as we go. And even after the sessions, I think we should connect and have any specific questions that you are happy to take that. Yep, get started.
Surely, thank you. Okay, let's get started for the day, everyone. And the very first slide, we started our day with something like Gen AI, Gen AI, Gen AI, right? You would have heard us harping Gen AI throughout the day. So by now, you would be knowing that Gen AI can be used to create images, content, your text files, or anything which you can generate using Gen AI. So at that time, you're going to use Gen AI. And definitely, you would have even heard about the terms, something called as foundation models. You would have heard about Bedrock, and so on, folks. Yep. So I'm not going to, bombard you with those terminologies. All I want to say, keep it simple, silly, that generative AI is used to generate something, and that's exactly shown to you on your screen. After that, I just want to say any new thing which comes up, any new thing which looks good, definitely it comes with a set of challenges. It comes with something which you haven't seen before, some risk and challenges which you have never explored before. Yeah? So that is what we are going to expect, and that's what we are going to talk, and that's our theme for our upcoming slides, everyone. Okay? Moving on to the next one, I just want to say, since I said the threats are going to increase, the risk is going to increase, right? But already cybersecurity folks are bombarded with work. You will say, Shashank, more risk, more things to do, more things to learn? Definitely yes. Shown the stats on the screen where we say that 3.4 million security professionals are needed. 76% of people are prioritizing the budget for AIML. 67% of threats, they would have never been investigated. And 67% of analysts experience stress. Stress that we'd never talk about, right? Yeah, that's our 96, but it just keeps on increasing. Yep, so for that reason, what we are saying is, out of 4.5K average security events which are there, only 67% would have been covered. The rest, all we say is jane do. So you have to think about what is good state then, right? What is a good state? Yep.
So what good looks like? How do you define that? So how many of you work across multiple environments, not just AWS? Multiple environments, right?
Any other cloud providers
multiple
as well?
Cloud provider, on-premises,
Yep.
maybe on my own systems, right? The thing is, how are you able to keep track with so many security events being generated by so many different tooling, right? And somehow in the security parlance, there is a myth that more tooling means better security. Let's take a very simple example of a simple antivirus that runs on our endpoint. How many times do we really go back and update it, right? There is a lot of effort required. Auto updates works, yes, but they do break. How many of us actually gave a look at it, hey, when was the last update done? These are the things. So security toolings will generate a lot of events, a lot of noise at times. How do you filter through all of those? That's what the discussion over here is about, how Gen AI can help us in those areas.
Okay, so moving on to the next one, likewise I said, the risk is going to increase. As a security professional, what we want is, as a leader, I want to reduce the amount of time to detect that particular event, right? So as a leader, I would love to fix things at a faster rate, right? So this is what every leader wishes to have. I'm sorry for these ID things. Just give me a second, everyone. Okay, so when we talk about security and when we talk about generative AI, three important topics which comes across would be, the very first one, it has to be, is security of the infrastructure itself. Apart from that, we're going to talk about security from the generative AI threats. And the third one is how you're going to improve the security of your organization, of your cloud service provider using generative AI. We are going to focus on the very third topic, which is how you're going to strengthen your security using generative AI. So far, you would have heard generative AI being used for multiple purposes. We are going to show you a demonstration where we are going to put it into use. Virtual security assistant, we all need ChatGPT to help us answer, right, to our queries. Yes, but ChatGPT cannot give you custom tailored information because you cannot copy paste your custom deliveries or your corporate related details into it. If you do it, you're violating and you will be flagged as a violator, right? Yeah? So this is what happens when you are trying to talk to a virtual agent, you're trying to extract something from it, but it's not going to help you until you give some inputs which are relevant to your organization or domain. So that's the scenario which I'm going to show you folks, that Shashank being a cybersecurity professional, he doesn't know cloud, he doesn't know security, he's trying to ramp up to speed, but while he's catching up to speed, the state-sponsored adversaries or the bad actors are also readily available with new techniques and procedures, right? So Shashank cannot catch up to, those bad actors. Definitely he needs someone to assist, and that's the reason the scenario of virtual assistant comes into picture. Okay, so this is me, and I'm trying to talk to a ChatGPT or any public chatbot. So what am I trying to say is, what is the best way to secure the cloud estate of my organization? The chatbot says, tell me about your company's security policies. But I'm not allowed to say that, so I'll say, I wouldn't love to answer that. So the chatbot will say, okay, I'll just make some assumptions and speculate. So it's not going to give you a tailored information, everyone, and it's not going to help you until you help it with further inputs. Right? Okay? So this is a pitfall which happens. So then your team is going to come and tell you, hey guys, can you tell me how do I improve the cloud security? And you will say, time lagega boss, I'll take time, right? We are not virtual agents. So your team is asking, 6 weeks, that's so long. So Shashank will answer, I need to go through your company security policies. I need to go through your frameworks, standards, controls, tools, your cloud estate, how big it is, the roadmap, and so on. After that, only I can give you something which is substantial. But 6 weeks is really long time, and we want to reduce it to minutes and seconds. And that's the reason why we are here today, going to demonstrate you how you can have a virtual, chatbot, which is a generative AI powered, and it's going to answer you exactly the way you need. Well, before we jump into the demo, there is one slide. We want everything to be automated. We want to expedite the security decision and operations, and our focus is on novel security problems. So this is how my agent is going to work. We are going to fire a query to it. It is going to check in the knowledge base. If there is a data, it is going to answer that. If there is no data, it's going to check to my LLM model, and after that, it's going to generate a response for me. This is how it's going to work. A little more complex picture for you. I'm not here to scare you off, trust me, I tell you that, right? So all I want to tell you is forget everything of it. All I want to tell you is your VPC logs, your DNS logs, your flow logs, and all of the logs coming in from your partners, everything will be populated in a security lake, and from there, I am going to connect my the bot which is running on my SageMaker notebook, which is going to talk to my model. Yeah?
So important thing here is, in this diagram, you might have attended the session on the security lake in the morning, right? Now, why do we need security lake? And that's the, I would say, the bedrock of where all the data comes and resides. It's an open source format, OCSF, it's an open source format, and that's very valuable for teams who are working in an open source community when you're building an application. So don't restrict thinking that security is only from a cloud perspective. You need to also have security of your applications, your user behavioral analytics. Think beyond that. Don't restrict yourself security only to the infrastructure level or to the cloud level. There are different levels. Think of securing your applications. In your applications, what a security would look like. What is the key area of my APIs, whichever application you are building. Say, for example, I'm building a retail applications, right? It's maybe just an online shopping, but I know what is the rate at which my API gets called to put an item into a cart, right? And any anomaly over there in terms of behavior, in terms of users, we do a lot of user behavioral analytics. That's fine, but that's more from a monetization perspective. You have to also look at those events and logs from a security perspective. And that's where OCSF formats will help you. You take those application logs, ingest it into an OCSF format, and then stitch it over here to get the value of Gen AI.
Sure. So now just moving on to the action. I know you all have been waiting for like, how does it look like?
Yeah.
This is how it looks like. I'm waiting for it to load. Okay. So this is my Jupyter notebook, which is running on my SageMaker, where I'm trying to fire some queries. This is where my input will be. Assume I'm a very new guy who's learning cloud. I really don't know questions like, how big is your cloud estate? How big is your cloud estate means how many cloud accounts you have, how many accounts have you been working on, what regions you're spread across. You don't know these things. मुझे नहीं पता कहाँ पे कितने services commissioned है. I want someone to help me with that. And this is what I'm going to do right now in the demonstration, where we are going to fire some queries. Like, for example, we are asking, can you help me with high, medium, low findings across these accounts? And it's going to pull that, and it's going to show me along with the way I want. So have a look. This is me who is typing in my Jupyter notebook, and I'm waiting for it to respond. I'm saying plot the chart as well once you have that data, and it's going to do that for me. So it's executing the agent, which I talked about. And then, slowly, it's going to print it on the screen. So have a look. I'll just scroll up there, and you will be able to see. It's able to find how many accounts I had, the findings across the services, which are compliant, not compliant. In terms of security, all matters is NCs, how much not compliant you are. All that high, medium, and low non-compliance, everything is shown, along with the services over here, as well as the accounts, right? Now, I don't know how to plot it into a chart. I don't know how to learn pandas or Python, and I still want to generate an executive report, and I want to give it to my boss. Or I want to give it to my senior management who doesn't understand these things. So I don't know how to do it. So I'm putting generative AI to use. Have a look. Whatever output it was, it generated that for me, and I said, break it down account-wise. It is giving me account-wise. This is account 1, account 2, followed by the services, followed by the breakdown of high, medium, low. And this is what action items every executive wants in the executive reports, that, hey, give me the top 5 things we need to fix to be in a good shape. Yeah? And this is what it is doing for us.
Right. Imagine extending the same graph and asking query about your specific applications. Okay, which are my core API endpoints which are experiencing anomaly in terms of user request? Okay, what's my common baseline looking like? Right? Those are the questions which extend this not just to an account of the AWS service level, extend the same concept to your applications, to your API levels.
So major people do not know that, is my account safe? Everyone has that worry. Is my account really safe? What are the indicators of compromise? How do I get to know my account is compromised? And they have that questions in across their mind. So what we are doing is we are going to ask this agent only to tell me what are the indicators of compromise I need to look for, what all prompts I can do to it, and what all data it can give to me. So let's begin with the demonstration. Have a look. I'm asking, can you help me with the indicators of compromise? And it will start telling me the entire summary of my account. So the agent is running, and I took my mouse that side so that you could see. And let's see the indicators of compromise, what all it says. We're just giving you a degree of freedom to think what all you can do with this agent, what all you can ask, how you can gather information, how you can be prepared for an audit which could be internal, external, but at least to be in good shape with your AWS security account. Have a look. It's saying me that, hey, buddy, these are the potential issues of compromise. Your security group is open. API calls are coming from a single user, which is really high. Everything, right? And now, if you say, Shashank, I don't know how to do a port scan, या इसमें से लिखा हुआ मुझे कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा है, तो trust me, I show you one next simple snapshot, which I asked this agent to do it, and it's doing it for me. Have a look. I don't know what port scan is all about, so I'm waiting for it to show. And see this, it is showing me potentially from these IP addresses, I'm getting unique destinations, and possibly these are the IP addresses I want you to take care of, or I want you to go and check if something has gone wrong there. Yeah? So how easy it is, right? I mean, I don't know machine learning, I don't know security, I don't know what, but I can put all of them together to use. And this is how you could use generative AI. And it is even telling me the recommended next steps. What are your action items to be done, right? So sometimes people say, I need someone to help me, I need someone to assist me at my job. You can put it to use like this, and this is how this agent is doing. You can also try to prompt these many things to it. You can ask questions, it will try to do those reports for you. And trust me, this is only the data which is coming in from my account, which was a real account connected to Security Lake, and those are the real findings which you were seeing. Okay? The next up is superpowers. Over to you.
Yep, thank you. So we saw about using Security Lake and connecting it and using a Jupyter notebook to write natural language queries. The question you may ask, do I have to go and, once I go back, if I have to start using, do you expect me to start a Security Lake and work with Jupyter Notebook? Yes, you can definitely try that. We don't have to wait for it. These capabilities are getting baked into AWS services itself. So take CloudWatch. How many of you write CloudWatch queries? CloudTrail queries? Now, imagine you have different query languages, right? ELK stacks, right? You have to start writing query for each and every different tooling that you are using, right? That's an overhead. For a security analyst, right, who is bombarded with 20, 30 security toolings, do you expect me to know all the different query languages, the syntaxes, right? That's another power of Gen AI. What you have to do is you have to write in your English statement, and that's what you do. So go and try it out in your CloudWatch. In CloudWatch, you can go and say, okay, I want to build a query. You write your English, it will generate a CloudWatch query for you. That's what we are trying to get there. The second was on the correlation part, the graph that we saw. How do we do that? If I have to do investigations. Today, AWS Detective Service not just takes all the log lines from Security Hub and other areas, but you can also write a query and ask for a threat intel. Or you can also ask and say, okay, explain me what is going on in my environment. What it does is, it looks at different logs, different time sequences, and it actually gives you an English output. It's not for the analyst to take every log line and build a story. Storytelling is important, right? If you have to understand what sequences happen, it will write an English story for you in a sequence of time events that has happened, clearly mentioning what are the threats, what action was taken, what are the possible causes, and how can you remediate it. So these are the superpowers that you should be building in terms of ability to summarize all those complex events that's happening in your environment, right from different toolings, and how do you use prompt engineering to enhance that. Yep.
Okay, there is one limitation. All we want to tell you is, while it is doing everything, it is only meant to assist you. Do not replace it with your, Intuit. Don't keep your Intuit, your judgment aside, because they may even hallucinate. So you have to validate whatever it generates, right? Take support, which is perfectly fine, but it's not going to replace human anytime soon. Now, I said the ChatGPT or any other GPT virtual agent you have, it is not going to respond to you until you're not going to give feedback to it. So context is very important. It is important. You need to train your model, you need to train your agent, and you need to make it work for you. So that is what we are trying to tell you here. Okay? So this is the slide which you saw at the start, that I'll make assumptions and speculate, right? So what differs us is we're giving it the data and we are asking it to understand. And that's where you hear these words, that you have to train the model, you have to select the model, you have to do model tuning. RAGs, you would have heard about them. If not, definitely you're going to hear that anytime soon. But this is how you add some context to your virtual agent and make it work for you. Okay? And with this, I'll just say that was just a demonstration about how you use a virtual agent to increase the cloud security posture of your AWS account. And now I'll move on to the last segment of ours, that before we say goodbye, I know the timer has run out, just 2 minutes before we say goodbye, something which is Ravindra wanted to talk about. Over to you.
Thank you, and I'll just take 2 minutes on this. As we are building modern applications, we all know about microservices and other things, but how application architectures are evolving is what we need to understand. So we started from the common world. Amazon itself started as a monolith application, And over a period of time, we saw the drawbacks of monolith. We all know that. We went into the world of microservices, right? Microservices is where we go and see all the connected graphs of things, of how the microservices world of actually Amazon looks like today, or Netflix. And then as we are going further, what's happening is I am not having understanding of the state of the applications. This is the new architecture pattern. As you start building your application, start thinking in those terms, known as SPQA. Essentially, it is about, instead of me orchestrating my microservices, right, in your own application, can you build a model which will say, okay, hey, I want to stitch my application in 3 different ways and make it easy for the consumer or the consumption to make a natural language and then give you an integration points. It's a bigger topic, but I just wanted to leave with a food of thought that SPQ architecture is what you'll be looking at. Happy to connect with you offline and have more wider discussion on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. So basically, Ravi left you with something. This is what you're going to hear in the future, and you need to be aware of. And with that, the key takeaways is Gen AI is not an alternative to humans, or it's not killing our jobs, but definitely we need to use it. The second one is you can, generate it, put it to your use, leverage your controls, check the coverage, and so on. And the last one, you don't need any extensive training. I'm not an ML expert. I don't know how the Bedrock works. Neither I know pandas, neither I know Python, but I could make it use, and this is how I learned machine learning, and that's how I learned SageMaker overnight, right? Just by fiddling, and following some blogs. So before we say goodbye, this is the last slide with the QR code. If you scan it, you'll get all the links which helped me create this blog, this presentation, as well as if you're thinking about, hey Shashank, what about the security of Bedrock and so on? You will hear our CEO talking about it. Everything is within this short link, and thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.